When you don't take time to look at it through other people's eyes. Take some time and reflect on what you believe in your soul. Cause that is the key to life. You gotta let the negativity go.
Hello, and welcome to What the Fox podcast with your two hosts, Lindsey Fox and Amber Ross. Today, we are going to be really kicking off the new year with a great topic that Amber is going to introduce in just a moment. But before we do that, we'd like to remind you that this episode is sponsored by therapyappointment.com. So if you are looking for a therapist near you, we highly recommend that you go to therapyappointment.com to find one who can assist you today. And if you are a therapist or a clinician, just take note that Therapy Appointment is the longest running practice management system out there. So please check them out. All right, Amber,
Awesome.
on to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Lindsey. Thank you so much. So today's episode, I'm actually pretty pumped about because it's super in vogue right now. Do even people say that anymore? It's like it's
Well, we just did, so now it's
hot
back
topic
in.
item. It's coming back, y'all. No,
2023 is here, and we're diving into all the things.
we're doing the things, and we're in fact rolling it back to the 90s. But no, seriously,
Okay,
this time
I
of
like
year,
the 90s.
everybody's I like the 90s too. This time of year, everybody's talking about goals. They're talking about manifesting new opportunities. They're talking about turning over a new leaf. And it's fun to talk about. It's great to put a lot of energy into those things, like your word of the year, your intention of the year. But I think sometimes we forget to go a layer deeper, and we forget to really dig into the why behind it and the how behind it and making it something realistic. So today we're going to talk about goal setting, manifesting, and just what all of that can actually look like to be efficient and effective, right?
I totally agree. And I think first things first, when people say like, what is manifesting? I kind of feel like it's one of those like a hokey woo-woo word where some people are like, oh,
yeah.
okay. They're just not into it. And that's okay. You don't have to be into that word, because sometimes manifesting can feel like a dream, like without an actual goal. And that's sort of what I'd love to look at today is I feel like in this podcast, we do a nice job together in terms of like offering words and labels to things and definitions to things to kind of bring things full circle. So let's start with defining what's manifesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to refer to a book called Manifesting Through Meditation. It's by Cassandra Bozak. And I really like how she articulates what manifesting is. She says, manifesting is our ability to be conscious creators of our lives. It's the practice of divinely designing your life instead of falling victim to the circumstances around you or letting yourself get stuck in a cycle of reactivity to your outer environment. You can manifest anything you want within our human biological limitations, of course. So
it's a good side note.
right. So, a lot of times when people think about manifesting, they're thinking about like, how do I manifest money? How do I manifest my dream spouse? But if only it were that simple, like, and that's why I'm saying like, it sounds kind of woo woo. But today we want to talk about like, what are the goals that you need to set so that you can manifest the thing. So it's not a dream.
Well, I think if I can interrupt you for a minute, I feel like manifesting gets kind of a bad rap because people think, oh, I just have to say this set of 3 affirmations and then everything I want will come to me. And that's not like, affirmations are powerful, but their power, right? Gosh, please. The power in manifesting, in affirmations, in goal setting, all of the power comes from your focus and doing the work required to achieve the things you've set out to do, right? So it's not we're not waving a magic wand. We're not like snapping our fingers. It's not, words are powerful. Yes. Mm-hmm. However, they're powerful because of the work we put behind them, right? And the effort and the focus we put behind them.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. And I also believe that a part of manifesting things into reality requires you to take a step back to look at what that bigger vision is. So, taking a moment, I would say first things first is to think about the results you want to see.
Yeah.
Like before you set a goal, take a closer look at what you're trying to achieve, and ask yourself, is this goal truly something you want? Are you willing to work really hard for it?
Why do you want it? Why does it matter? What will it change? Like,
Mhm.
so many times we want like a goal, right? I want to make $2 million next year. Let's say that's a goal. Okay. Why is
Okay.
that relevant? Why does that matter? What's it going to change in your life?
Yeah,
Money does not fix everything. Money is certainly incredibly helpful.
sure. It can create a lot of problems too.
It can create a whole lot of problems because how did you
It-
get that money? Like what
mhm.
happened and what did you do with it? So
Right.
I
Hmm.
think the thought process behind it, and this time of year especially, people are spending
Yeah.
time thinking about the previous year. They're spending time thinking about what they want for the year to come. And all of
Yeah.
that should be wrapped into goal setting to say, how would my life be different if this goal I'm chasing came to fruition. My brain is not working today.
You did it. You got it. It's just sometimes our brain works faster than our mouth and vice versa.
Oh,
We
it
got
happens a
there.
lot. We
I know.
got there.
I've got some brain fog going on myself today. So my goal is to get through today. That's my goal.
Listen, yes, that is a great goal. And you know what? It's time bound, it's
That's,
specific, it's measurable. What are these?
oh,
It's a SMART
smart
goal.
goal. We are so cheesy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
But it's funny though, because, and it's funny,
wait.
haha, in this
We
case.
need to talk about what a SMART goal is, but keep going.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want
I
to make sure
am.
our listeners understand what that is.
I feel like we all have at least a working understanding of SMART goal, but we will define it. Essentially, I actually looked this up before we were having this chat because apparently someone has changed one of the letters in SMART goals, and I
Well,
love it. I
okay. I
love
was
it.
going to say we
Okay.
can make it whatever we want. What is
No,
it?
I love it. So, SMART, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, results based, time bound.
Oh, well,
That
that's a little
R
plot
is
twist.
that's a plot twist, but holy crap. Yes, please, results based, because that's what's a goal, right? We're trying to reach a result. So if you have
Yeah.
these willy-nilly SMART goals that don't actually tie to that, then you get off track.
Yeah. Well, and so for those of y'all who might not be familiar with SMART goals, because you see Amber is a project manager and I'm a therapist, and these things are
Yeah.
used all the time in our field of work, but maybe you're not familiar with it. But generally speaking, SMART goal, the R is usually referred to as realistic. So
Or
um
relevant.
or relevant. That's right. There's the R's all kinds of things.
Yeah, the
Lots of
R
little
gets
plot
to
twists.
like plot twist the heck out of us here.
It's true. It's totally true. But I use SMART goals all the time
Mm,
within the context of being a coach and a therapist, uh, because of the nature of producing results and being able to see like I want to say instant gratification, but it's like setting SMART goals allows you to see like little by little progress so
yeah.
that they are smart, small, and achievable, and you can get there and kind of see the difference that you've made. And so I think I'm sorry, I can see you want to say
No,
something.
so yes, and this is the beauty of video. You can see all of my thoughts on my face.
Yeah, I'll keep going in a second, but go ahead. I could see your wheels are spinning right now.
They're spinning because it creates momentum. So being able to measure, and it's not instant gratification, but it's gratification, right? It is like seeing, oh, I did something and it made a
Hmm.
difference.
Yeah.
Instead of just running around assuming that something's going to change because you're putting in effort all over the place. And I actually read a quote
Mhm. I
about
like
this.
I like
You
this
like where I'm
emphasis.
going. So all right, listen, I don't do sports, but this analogy works for my brain. So the quote says, the trouble with not having a goal is you can spend your entire life running up and down the field and never score. And it's Bill Copeland who said that. And I thought to myself, that's right, because we can run around like crazy people doing all kinds of work and putting out all sorts of effort and not really feel like we did anything if there's no source of measurement of what was accomplished.
Hashtag my ADHD life.
Yes.
Y'all, have you been the person that like runs around and you start one thing and next thing you know, it's like you went back in this room to grab one thing because you're doing laundry and I don't know. Next, and then you see a project or a mess over here, start dabbling over there. And next thing you know, by the end of the day, you're going through photo albums and you're like, how did I end up here? And what did I get accomplished? Absolutely nothing, but I felt super busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly, this is where I do think SMART goals can enhance a level of accountability too, because it's really easy to go down a rabbit hole of all the things, and then you take a step back and you're like, oh wow, I've been like running in circles and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, I expended all of this energy and I have there's no tangible item to say, you did a good job, which
Yeah.
can be kind of a letdown.
I kind of think too, before even setting the SMART goals, maybe whenever kind of tying back to the beginning part of this podcast episode, when you're thinking about what it is that you want to attain, this might come off some kind of way. It's not for everyone, but I feel like there is some utility in designing or creating a vision board. And
Yeah.
so like a vision board doesn't have to be like cutting out magazine articles per se, or magazine little pictures or whatever. It could be like a collage of words. It can be maybe your own drawings or cutouts of things, whatever, stickers. But I think that a vision board can be helpful to inspire creativity more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's a great visual reminder that shapes your thoughts, right? So for those of us
Mhm.
who have 100 swim lanes going in our brain at one time and we have all of these thoughts swirling, I feel like a vision board is a good way to get all of that information out of your head and onto something you can actually look at, so you can say, oh yeah, this is relevant, I care about this, this
Yeah.
matters to my life, this
Yeah.
goes with the theme. Or, oh, okay, that was just like an irrelevant thought pattern that needs to slide to the
Yes.
side.
Absolutely. And so it gives you a focal point, I would like to say. And then I think once that focal point's established, you can then kind of start outlining those SMART goals. So I know we kind of went through it quickly and we don't have to stay on it too long, but just for, again, people who might not be as familiar,
Yeah.
SMART is specific. So be super specific about what this goal is. And so that it's not, I don't know, like whenever I'm working with kids, for example, right? Whenever it's say, like when a parent says, go clean your room, sometimes a kid needs something really, really specific.
Go pick
Like,
up 10 red toys and put them in their home.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because then that feels like, okay, I can achieve that. But saying go clean your room is like, well, where do I start? It's like making up my bed, picking up all my toys, putting away all those papers. Do I put all my clothes in the hamper? Like there's so many decisions I need to make. And
Well,
so,
and also let's define clean, right? And that's
oh
part of
gosh,
setting a SMART goal. Define what you want that
yes.
outcome to look like and make it a
Hmm.
clear, something that's measurable, something that's realistic and real, not
Hmm.
an arbitrary,
Yeah.
because like clean is just different to different people. So
Absolutely. It could be that like the space is clean, but it's messy. Or
mhm.
or like it just needs to be tidied up.
Yeah, it's
Or it
like
could be that,
go
you know,
ahead.
I don't know.
There's
It's
so
just
many, there's just so
you
many
can
things
just
we could
you
go
can
off
keep going
there.
with that. But I think ultimately the reason why having SMART goals are like why it is so important is so that you don't put yourself in this self-sabotaging spiral of then
Yep.
coming out feeling like a failure on the other side. Because as adults too, I mean kids do this, just so that we know. Kids are little humans too. They feel this way too. But we as
What?
adults especially have a really bad habit of setting unrealistic goals for ourselves that are not achievable because we are hard on ourselves, or society saying that we have to show up in a certain way.
Mhm.
And then when we're not doing the thing in the way that we're telling ourselves we should, or society says we should, we're then feeling like a failure. So what
Mhm.
happens to our motivation? It completely plummets and we say, screw it.
Yep.
So next thing you know, you get the case of the fuck it's and nothing's getting accomplished. So it's procrastination. It's saying I'll get to it tomorrow, or it's saying never mind. I didn't lose 10 pounds in 1 month. Therefore, why should I even try?
That's a good
You
point.
know?
Yeah. I mean, they
And
have
so,
to be realistic. They have to be things you have control over, right? Your
mhm,
goals need to be things that are within your scope of control. I think a lot of times I see folks set, I'm going to get that promotion, which is not a bad goal. However,
Yeah.
you do not have control over who that promotion is given to, right? So you've
Right.
given away your control in that goal, and that sets a bad precedent for the overall process.
So, but what one can do with a goal, like I want to get a promotion or earn X amount of income in this time period, you create a timeline.
Yep.
So that is within your control. That can go within your goal setting of create a visual timeline or something on your calendar, or write it out on a piece of paper first and then kind of outline where it fits in all the other places. But creating a timeline of, I'm going to work really hard on this project from this period to this period. If after 90 days, I'm not where I want to be, or I have applied to, I'm going to apply to 3 jobs within this period of time. If I don't get a call back, then I'm going to follow up with them.
Yep.
Right. So just setting these kind of goals that are realistic and saying like, and putting that time, that's where that time bound piece in the SMART goal is important, that time limited aspect, because that's your accountability check. That's your ability to check in with yourself and say, hey, did I do this? And then if you don't meet that goal, it's like, okay, oh, well, that's on me.
What's the next step? Yeah. What's the next logical step? And that's something that I wanted to share personally when we were discussing this topic of goals and goal setting and manifesting and, what that looks like. So often I think we set a big goal and we go for like that big thing, and we don't take the time to break it into small chunks that we can actually take action on and then say, okay, I did that thing, move to the next thing. So it's January and you say, by next December, I will have XYZ. But you never looked at that goal again between, January to December. You never checked in with yourself. You didn't have like a set of a way to break that down into something that's achievable. You didn't have your action items. Like those are areas that I would love to steer people away from in goal setting. It's great to have that big vision, that big idea, that big goal, but you absolutely have to take the extra steps to break it down to bite-sized pieces, because you're not going to get there if all you say is, that's what I want next December. Like that's where I'm going to be. How are you going to get there, friend?
Absolutely. So I think I definitely agree with this, because this is also project management 101 for sure. It's like having step 1, 2, 3 delineated and so forth. I mean, that's how you meet your deliverables. But also I think another part of this is understanding, while it's great to have that step 1 through 5 outline so you can have like that zoom out bird's eye view vision of it. I think it's also really important not to get super hung up on all of those milestones so that you can meet yourself where you're at in the process. Because by all means, guys, we're human. So if you get sick one month, or if you're having just a shitty week, it's okay for you to take space for yourself. It's okay for you not to, focus on whatever that thing is. Or, and I know Amber and I have talked about this. We don't like that terminology of having a cheat day with a diet. It's not having a cheat day. It's, you choose to do whatever it is that you're doing for that day, and you'll, make up for it around
it's an act of self-care. It's an act of giving yourself grace. It's an act of building in recovery time. Like I would, obviously, as a health and wellness coach, right? My goals that I'm talking with people about are focused on fitness. They're focused on nutrition. They're focused on getting rid of pain in their body. It's focused on movement, mobility, all of these things. So they're all very tangible in a lot of ways. And part of our goal setting is building in that time for recovery, building in that time for actively allowing yourself to rest and for your body to sit in the work that you've done, and so that it can move to the next level. And that's important in all goal setting. And if you do not have time in your goal structure or your, project plan, if you've not built in recovery time or a gap plan, like go back and do that. Like
that's right. We all need a contingency budget, guys. We need a contingency budget. Absolutely.
Because you think you can get it done in 4 weeks, make it 6.
That's right. That was us basically designing this podcast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We initially started out saying, hey, maybe we'll launch in the fall. And then when Amber and I kind of looked at things, we were like, girl, this shit is not going to happen in the fall. We need to reevaluate and launch on New Year's.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we did. And it wasn't like this is another huge part in terms of the mindset. When we made that decision, it didn't come with judgment attached to it.
No. Mm-mm.
You know, of course not. And I say, of course not to make light of this, but truly and Amber and I are both perfectionists. Okay. Like we recognize
spoiler alert.
Like we totally have our own type A tendencies with things.
Yeah.
And while we operate differently, we are quite similar in many ways. And, I mentioned the judgment piece because it is so important that when we are setting these goals that you're giving yourself grace, guys.
Yeah.
You've got to give yourself some grace, because if you are just like hardcore on yourself nonstop, again, coming back to that space of wiping out your motivation and not feeling good enough, or wanting to just throw in the towel because you're not getting that instant gratification, you got to treat yourself the way that you would treat your best friend. You know, you're worth it.
Absolutely. I agree completely, which is no shock to anyone, I'm sure, at this point. But I'll say it again. Sometimes we disagree on stuff.
I know, but the stuff we disagree on is like so petty.
Oh gosh, I know it's yes, it's petty.
It's
Petty's
comical,
a good word
actually.
for it. It's comical, yes.
It's comical,
okay, so let's tie it all together, right? So we've talked about SMART goals. We're talking about the way we approach our goals, why we set them, making it something that's actually achievable. Now, how does manifestation or manifesting fit into goal setting and this realm of things?
Well, in my opinion, I feel like that is manifestation. I believe that adhering to your action plan, that is the art of manifestation. And that's how you make it come full circle, is putting that into action. Because in essence, goals are dreams with a deadline. And so whenever we have a deadline in place, like, it's not just dreaming, we're actually, putting the pen to paper and making it come together.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's sort of, I asked the question tongue in cheek, right? Because I already knew the answer, but I knew the answer because we like to put labels on things. We like to put different words or different ideas together in a certain way to fit whatever we're trying to push through at that point. And I think manifesting is just a fancy way of focusing on your goals and making them a reality. It's because the reality is, let's go back to the vision board. Why do we even do a vision board? Okay. The way our brains work, and we've talked about this in plenty of episodes, is that our brains what's the word I'm looking for? Imprint ideas, right?
Yeah, we like to categorize our ideas. Our brain likes that. It feels really satisfying.
It feels really satisfying. It also allows your brain to kind of assign a higher value to things that are actually important to you. So when you're doing this vision board process, you're doing this goal process, I feel like your brain's going to automatically look for opportunities to fulfill that item, to fill that bucket, or to, make that happen. So it is important. And why I tell my clients, look at your goals on a regular basis. Put them somewhere that you can see them, whether that's on your bathroom mirror, your bedside table, your computer. Like for me, I did a virtual vision board this year because, listen, your girl's not crafty. I don't like clipping magazines. I don't have magazines. Like, this thing stresses me out. So I did a virtual one.
I was going to say, wait, quick shout out to Trello. The app Trello is amazing for this. PS for a timeline. Sorry, Amber, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I have mine as my screensaver on my computer. So every time I open my computer and I look at it, I'm reminded of what my focus is for the year, what I'm pushing toward, and sort of what it means to me in a series of pictures with a word down the middle. And it was just a simple way for me to, when I sit down at my desk to do my work, to remind myself of why I'm here, what I'm doing, and like why it matters. So I think that's a key to me as far as manifestation, because like I have my affirmations above my computer screen. I have my vision board on my computer screen. And while this might seem woo-woo or, out of left field to some people, these are the ways that I do all of the many things that I get done in a day, because I have that extra fire of, this is why you're here. This is why you do what you do. And this is why we keep going.
Yes, I definitely agree with you on this, and I say this because in the past I've definitely been someone who has kind of been like, I don't know how effective are affirmations, how effective are these things, and the truth of the matter is, however, whatever way works for you,
Yes.
so be it. It doesn't really matter, the method by which you choose, so much as you are doing something to engage in that cognitive restructuring in your brain, so that you are modifying some negative thought patterns or negative, like some barriers, self-limiting
Yes.
beliefs, and you're doing something that can help modify those thinking patterns and hold you on track to shift that thought pattern back. And so it's really, in my opinion, and it's very much aligned with like how mindfulness and meditation work, in the sense where, if you've ever listened to a guided meditation or sat in
Mhm.
on one, they say, picture your thoughts like passing clouds, or if you see something, bring yourself back to the moment, focus on your breathing, focus on the sound of my voice. um, and there's a reason for that, and I think that having, for me, I like to have post-it notes or index cards taped to certain parts of my house as like a check-in.
Yeah.
And I know for those who might not be familiar with us or my personal story, I have spent the last 2.5+ years trying to get divorced. And so through that feeling of just constant limbo, waiting
Hmm.
for an end to be in sight, I started to put, we can call it an affirmation. I started to put this affirmation throughout my entire house that said, I will not, I will not wait for my divorce to start living my life.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love
And
it.
honest, and it was such a nice thing for me to see throughout my house. And I gotta, I mean, it seemed kind of hokey at first, and I get it. But at the same time, on the days where I'd be like, well, I'm gonna wait for this until the divorce is over. I'm gonna wait for this till the divorce
No,
is
you
over.
won't.
Right. I mean, and I thought about this with the podcast. I'm not going
Hmm.
to launch this podcast till after the divorce is over. I don't want to do this with my coaching business till after the divorce. And it's like, no, you can't put your whole life on hold. You just have to
Hmm.
go for it. And so whenever I think about manifesting, sometimes that just means jumping into the deep end and figuring it out.
Yep.
Because while you might not have your whole plan figured out, you can have a loose plan, and I might not be as detail oriented as Amber with certain pieces. That's why we work together.
Yeah, right. It's a good balance.
It is, but it's like sometimes you're not going to have that list is not going to be perfect. And if you are
Yeah.
waiting for that list to look perfect and for you to have everything outlined before you get started, let me tell you, you're not going to get started and the goal's never going to get met. So done is better than perfect. You just have to dive in.
I agree with you. I see it all the time, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for the perfect day, especially like, we've just come through holiday season, right? And so many people will have waited until January to start their health goals because, oh, it's
Yeah.
Halloween, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, it's, whatever. I can't possibly be on a health journey through the holidays. Friend, yes, you can. Yes, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not about being perfect. It's not about some unattainable idea of what, quote unquote, clean eating looks like or clean living looks like, right?
Right.
It's making that next right and kind choice for yourself, knowing what your body needs and what your mind needs. And that's going to look different every single day.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I keep coming back to that message of give yourself grace.
Definitely.
Give yourself grace and try not to judge yourself, because you're doing the best that you can with what you've got.
Yeah,
Period.
you can certainly push yourself hard, have big goals, have big dreams, work your butt off,
Hmm.
and make time to give yourself grace, make time for rest, make time to refill your cup. It's something
Yeah.
we talk about a lot here because we live in a society that rewards and awards overworking and over
Yeah.
indexing and showing up to the nth degree,
Hmm.
as that status symbol, of, I worked 90 hours last week.
Yeah.
great. What?
How's your
Let's
mind and body
not.
feeling?
Yeah. Like, have
Yeah.
you heard any of your thoughts in those 90 hours? Because I'm going to guess you just set your body and mind's needs to the side to take care of
Yeah.
the other demands in your life. And
Yeah.
there are seasons where that is necessary, but you cannot run at full tilt for
Yeah.
very long.
That's right. That's right. That's been a very valuable life lesson that has been presented to me so many different times throughout my life because and that's just it. We all need a just like our car needs an oil change every year, so do we. We need to check
Listen,
in with ourselves. We need to give ourselves that break.
we
And
do.
so
And you'll see the red flags, right? It's funny that you use the check engine light or the car idea, because
reference.
just this week I told a friend of mine, I was like, I feel like for me in 2022, my check engine light has been on all year flashing. And like, we've
Mhm.
been just trying different diagnostics, different ideas. Like, do we fix
Yes.
this thing? Do we fix that thing? Is it this thing over here? And I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like how many people are walking around with their check engine light on and not realizing it because of the noise of the outside world, right?
Yeah, they're on
Mm-hmm.
autopilot. I mean, it's just yeah, we're
Man, look at
not
us throwing out. We got car analogies, we got sports analogies. This is fun. This is good.
we're kicking off this year to a strong start. We got a strong start going.
Listen, this year is going to be amazing. It is going to be epic. I am excited for all the fun stuff that we have planned and that we get to do. And I'm excited for things to be different.
I am too. And Amber, I really do believe that this year is going to be an incredible year. I really, every fiber of my being, and I'm not just saying this because I know my divorce will be finalized this year.
Yep.
Like I really, really do in my heart and soul, I feel that this year is going to be a really incredible year. Um, there's a lot of us that have kind of come out from the woodworks of the wild west of the pandemic, where we've now kind of like we're in that space of reclaiming our joy,
Yeah.
and starting over through a new lens. And I really do hope that for our speakers, listen to me, I'm thinking about guest speakers, our listeners, that that y'all really lean into the change that this year is offering you,
Yeah.
and that you lean into it and look at your part in it. Choose change, and change is good. It's healthy. It might be scary, but lean into it.
Yeah, and you know what? If this is the first year you choose to implement affirmations, if it's the first year you choose to implement SMART goals, if it's the
Yeah.
first year you
Well, yeah,
choose to
whatever.
build in rest, if that's not something you've been doing for yourself, like this is all areas of change and growth that you have a choice about, you have an impact on.
Yes.
And now's the time. It's not, tomorrow's not going to be any better. The next Monday is not going to be any different, you
So
know?
true. Yeah. And
It's
actually,
like,
just
I'll do it next Monday. What's the difference? Do it today.
right. It's just do it. Start where you are, guys. Start where you
Yes.
are. Just do what you can when you can. And having a plan definitely helps. I just want to do a quick call out to the fact that this year, speaking of 2023, we are going to, and whenever I say we, I'm actually referencing another person I'm working with, are going to be hosting a retreat. It is a women's healing retreat in Sedona, Arizona.
Woo woo.
And you can learn more about that by going on Instagram and looking up Conscious Healers Retreat. That is the Instagram handle where all that stuff will be. Or you can go to conscioushealers.com for more information.
I
I'm
love that.
very
I'm so
excited about this.
excited. I know you've been working on this one for a while, and I'm really pumped to see it come together, because I
I'm
think
so excited too.
it's such an awesome opportunity to take that pause and make it an intentional gift to yourself. So I'm thrilled, and it's going to
Yes.
be fun.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. And I really do feel the women who are called to be there, they will show up. Those are like
Yep.
the people, like to me, I look at it as like those who if I'm speaking to you,
Hmm.
like if this is your calling or not. But it will be a very wonderful and amazing experience of self-healing, that is private and exclusive to just women. So I'm really looking forward to it, and super super stoked that we could manifest this into 2023.
Yes, ma'am. I like it. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity. And I'm glad that you shared that, because seeing the way your face lights up when you talk about that,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's a different energy. It's a different
Yeah.
opportunity. And that actually brings up a really good point, because that's a great way to check in with yourself. If you're setting a goal and your
Mhm.
body does not light up, you do not vibrate with excitement, it does not
Yeah.
shift your perception, then I think maybe that's not the right goal for you.
Yeah, it might just not be in alignment for where you are at that time in your life, and that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
the retreat thing, I've had that on my heart for a while, but I've checked in with myself throughout this process, and I've said, Is now the time? No, Lindsay, now's not the time. Is now the time? No, Lindsay, now's not the time." And so it's just, I've really, and a lot of it has come with, hey, I need to get centered and focused within before I can pour from an overflow rather than from depletion. And I feel like I'm in this space where I can offer that now, and I'm so looking forward to being able to do that, and particularly in Sedona. I love Sedona. The energy there is just magical. So
That place is on
very
my bucket
excited.
list. So,
Oh, you're coming, Amber. You're coming.
Lindsay's like, "Oh, you're not getting out of this. You're going to be there."
No, sorry,
Um,
girl. Next thing you know, we're going to be having our own retreats together, but
hey,
that'll be a
yeah.
2024 goal.
I mean, I'm here for it. I love one of the things that I
Y'all
love
heard it
about
here first. She said yes.
was that a yes? I don't know. Yes,
I
it was a
turned it
yes.
into a
Yes,
yes.
it's fine. This is what Lindsay does to me, y'all. In case you didn't know, and you're not a fly on the wall in our conversations, there have been a lot of times where I sit and I tend to make very safe goals for myself. I make goals that are absolutely achievable.
Hmm.
And I tend not to take that next step to push myself a little bit further, because I don't want to disappoint myself. I don't want to disappoint other people. I want to set myself up for like always knocking the goal out of the park, because I come from a sales role where the thing that was drilled into my head was under promise, over deliver always. And it's like I can't get out of my own headspace in my goal
Mm,
setting. So
yeah.
Lindsay is that little bird on my shoulder that's like, no, that goal's not big enough. Try again.
Yep. I have no problem pushing Amber, man.
Sometimes like right off the diving board, but that's okay.
But
It's
she
done in love.
swims, y'all. She
I do.
always swims. She always swims, and she's incredible at many different things that she offers in life. And sometimes that's why I was saying sometimes you just have to dive into the deep end and figure it
Mhm.
out. And honest to goodness, think about for how long in your life you played it safe.
Yeah.
And then some of these, like in the last few years, you've taken that leap off the diving board straight into the deep end with a number of things in your life. And it's
So many
like,
things.
aren't you glad that you did it though? Like all these little
Absolutely. I
things
have
where it's like,
zero
man,
complaints. And, it actually brings us to an interesting point that we have not discussed before this moment. So we're going to go down a little foxhole. But
okay, I'm here
if
for it. I
we,
live for those moments.
if we talk about goal setting and we talk about manifesting and we talk about affirmations and we talk about all this good stuff, and it's yes, 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 that's all very nice. I want to challenge you to share your goal with a trusted advisor. So in my life, Lindsay is a trusted advisor, someone who I know I can share a goal, an idea, a struggle, whatever those things are. And she will be a good sounding board and also a good reality check. So if I am not pushing myself, if I have put something on paper that's like a total slam dunk, she's like, Amber, seriously, like, come on, you can do
Yeah.
so much more than what you're giving yourself credit for.
Yep.
But having that next step of accountability, that next step of somebody else looking at your goal to say, why is this important? And to help see, does this actually spark a light in you? Is it something that's relevant? And having that sounding board
Yeah.
is such a crucial part of the process, because if you do it all in your little bubble, one,
Yes.
it's not as much fun.
Yep.
Two, it allows you to not show up, because if nobody knows, nobody can hold you
Then
accountable.
right. And just reminder, folks, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that's where people like you and I come in handy as far as life coach and wellness coach.
Absolutely.
Because if you do not have a trusted advisor in your circle that is a friend, you can certainly hire one, right?
Yeah.
You can talk to somebody and set up a relationship to help you get to these goals, to help you create these goals and actually make them a reality. And I think sometimes, we don't say that, but like, that's literally what we do.
Yeah, we are your accountability partners.
Yes, absolutely.
It's true. And there's so much value in having someone like that in your life, particularly an accountability partner who's not here to judge you.
Yes.
It's about checking in with you and saying, hey, where are you with this goal? And are you where you want to be? Do you feel like, what are the other environmental factors that could be influencing the outcomes, or should we tweak things a little bit? And there's no shame in that, y'all.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that. And Amber and I, you're right. We do this with each other. We support each other through that. And it's been a critical part of my own accountability and wellness. And for Amber, of course, being a wellness coach, she's like perfect. She's perfect for me because she'll just make sure, I'm eating enough meals and doing everything right and all that stuff. She's so good at this whole clean eating thing, guys. I
feel
however,
but listen, treats are a part of clean eating. So I'm just like, I'm going to insert that caveat always and forever, because so many people are brainwashed by diet culture to think, oh, she eats clean, like she never eats chocolate. False.
No. Yeah.
Chocolate is a food group.
Absolutely. And it deserves its own. Yeah. I mean, 100%.
Yes.
I definitely agree. And by all means, you know how to balance things in moderation.
Yes.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But we all need those people in our life. And for you to be a wellness coach in that sense, I feel like you've helped me a lot, and vice versa with your stuff as well, that you've talked very openly about your anxiety and kind of worries about things like that. And we just balance each other out. But I agree. I think it's nice to have a friend in your life and to do that. But also, it's okay to hire someone who might be an expert in their fields, or someone who's out of your friend group who is, that will retain that accountability piece, but also be anonymous and confidential with your trusted needs.
Definitely. That's a good part to point out, because sometimes that non-bias, that person who's on the outside also brings a lot to the table, because they're not in the drama circle that you're in, right? Sometimes you have to break free from that toxic cycle of just repeating the same things over and over again. And you need that outsider person to come in and say, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah, let's reevaluate this.
Reevaluate. Yes. But I think we covered a lot today. We had some fun being cheesy. We shared a lot about SMART goals, manifesting.
We always have fun being cheesy.
Oh my gosh. We are the cheesiest, and it's one of my favorite things, because like dad jokes are a love language for me. So just in case nobody knows that, that's my favorite thing. Yes.
If you want to win our hearts over, send us dad jokes, please. Tag us.
Yes, absolutely. But thank you so much, Lindsey. This was an incredible chat, a great way to just work through January and the new year. And I'm excited to see what comes.
That's right. Me too, girl. All right, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe and follow on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@whatthefoxpodcast. You can also follow us on Instagram and tune in to all the major platforms that we have What the Fox on everything, frankly.
But we are everywhere.
What we would really, really love is if you could rate the podcast and help boost this podcast up in the algorithm so new listeners can find us. That would be really appreciated.
Absolutely. Your reviews go a long way into helping this grassroots effort grow and thrive and allow other people to get to hear all of our antics. So we're grateful for you, and we certainly appreciate it. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, y'all.
And we all sing, everything is gonna be just fine. It's gonna fall into place. The sun is gonna set on your terrible day.